Do you find yourself second guessing yourself a lot? Well, today I'm going to talk about this and overthinking into action. So, I've been someone who's been hugely analytical in his life. I must admit, I've been in places where I've been so caught up in an overthinking mind that I was exhausted. I went to bed absolutely exhausted, both in my personal and professional life. And it'd be, for example, it's like, right, I've got to get this email right, or else this person might take it the wrong way. There's also elements of people pleasing in there. It was like, okay, right, I've got to make the perfect plan on this project so that nothing goes wrong, which is impossible because one, you can't be perfect, and two, something's always going to go wrong. It's a project, right? So I just used to be like this over analytical mind. Now, it did do me some useful things in a way. It was like I could plan well. I'd think of things that maybe one or two people didn't. Generally, like when you're like overthinking all the time, it can be exhausting. Maybe you can relate to this a little bit, right? It can just be absolutely manic all the time, overthinking, and I've got to say that. Now, I want to talk about a little bit about what I've learned about why this is. Now I'm a person. I'm not going to sit here and say I don't get caught up in overthinking a little bit sometimes. I am analytical. I'm logical minded. Yet I'm very good at taking more action than I used to in terms of like thinking about, oh, I've got to do this, got to do that. I've improved a lot over the years. So I really wanted to talk about this because I know a lot of people overthink. And what I'm talking about is like where I probably overthink is when I'm like planning and thinking about too many things where I could be just kind of winding down for the day a little bit more. It doesn't necessarily stop me from taking the important steps. Now and then might do, but it used to stop me from taking the important steps, right? So the brain has got a part in the system called the amygdala. And I always struggle to say that word, amygdala. Anyway, there's a part of the brain called the amygdala. I said it better that time, which basically looks for dangers around you, and it's good at keeping you alive. Like if a robber or is coming into your home, it's going to be like alert. Your body's going to feel it before you get this sense, right? It's very good. Like if someone's dodging the street, like you've got a sense to that, or like you see a car coming towards you, you're going to get off the road, hopefully, right? And all these other things, right? So the brain is very good at looking at that. However, when it doesn't have real life dangers, it can be very switched on and very active. The amygdala, it could just be looking for like dangers constantly when there aren't real ones, and then it starts making things like, oh, what are people thinking about us? What if like I lost this and that, right? And now and then, unfortunately, there are some challenges that come into us. So then it makes, if you don't train yourself, like next time something comes up, the brain can be like for example, I lost my job once. So I got back on track. I got another one and stuff like that. But I remember like the first few months within that, I was very on edge. I was like, I didn't get sacked or anything. I got made redundant, but I was very much on edge. I was like very worried about things. So yeah, if past experiences and you don't train it well, it can be a challenge. So we've really got to train the brain to think in a different way and ask different questions, I found, and also the steps to take action. So have you been caught in overthinking? Is it exhausting you? Well, if you keep thinking about it and over again and thinking about how you're going to stop overthinking, it's probably not doing you any favors. So let's go through some practical tips because I've totally been there and it's always a work in progress, that over analytical mind, but it can be exhausting. Like I said, it can make me absolutely exhausting when I go to bed in the past just because I was overthinking too much. And I'm not even joking, right? So the first point I'm going to share is recall all the right decisions you've made. Sometimes we get so caught in this decision making, what if I make the wrong decision? So think about all the right decisions you've made. You've made a decision, you're like, I'm so glad I did it, because it's easy to forget about it, going back to that negative bias. Write it down on a pen with pen and paper, right? What all the right decisions you've made. Great, fantastic, well on you. That's awesome. And then the next step is mentally rehearse in advance you're doing something. So maybe there's a situation where you find yourself always overthinking. Like maybe it's sending an email. That's a classic one for me. I had this fear about like sending messages and getting bad ones back. And it was like life or death until I kind of worked through it a lot. Or it could be just like having a conversation with someone, a difficult conversation, mentally rehearsing in advance those tricky conversations or whatever you're going to do. Because when you do that, the more you do that, the more you're training your brain that, okay, this is coming up and that's how I'm going to overcome it. And the more you can train it to do that, again, the brain doesn't know the difference between faking reality in the imagination. So training it again and again, it can really feel like it's overcome something, so that when you come to it, it's more likely to take action on it. Okay, my third point is the 5-second rule by Mel Robbins. And this is not about getting your food off the floor. We're not talking about that, because that's not great anyway for you. But we're talking about counting down from 5 to 0, not upwards. It doesn't work. Not going from 0 to 5, 5 to 0, because if you keep counting up, it'll keep going up. But she wrote a book called The 5-Second Rule. And what you do is you count from 5 to 0. When you're like thinking and you're overthinking mode, you're like, okay, I'm going to take an action in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And then you do it. Just try it for yourself. It can really make a difference. Okay? And it's got to be, you're going to commit to an action. Okay, I'm going to commit to talking to that person in 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, hi, or whatever you want to do. And then my final point for you is get someone to really kick your ass. What I mean by that is this, right? Get a decent coach or some kind of community, someone who can really push you. So, for example, think of the classic personal trainer in a gym. A decent personal trainer is going to absolutely exhaust you and push you to your limits. Whilst if you're on your own, you might be like, well, I'm thinking about doing that exercise. I've done a few today. Maybe I go home. Or maybe I just have a very light jog for 5 minutes a day. I'm a bit tired. What happens when you turn up to your personal trainer, if they're decent and really want the best for you? They're like, no excuses today. I know you're not injured. I know you've got a lot to give. Go there and then do like 10 reps on the squat, and we're going to do 3 sets of 10, the squat rack, and then you're going to do 3 sets of 10 or something like that. That's what they're going to do. They're going to push you into action. When you've got the environment and the people to do that, that can be really supportive. So the coaches can do that. Coaches can do that in a mental perspective. They'll push you beyond your comfort zone as well. Be like, right, do this, this, and this. And when you're accountable to someone other than just yourself, it really gets you out of overthinking into action. And then linked to that, I also would suggest having a challenge, doing like yourself, doing a 75 hard, if you come across that, 75 days of doing a lot of exercise, drinking the just water or healthy stuff, eating the right stuff, and doing that for like 75 days. Just putting a challenge where you're in a group and accountability can be really, really powerful. That really got me just into action. I couldn't think about it. I had to do it each day. And I've got a new challenge I'm joining with my mastermind as well, my group of people. So your environment and people that can really push you is really going to get you into action. They're going to get you out of your head. So human beings trying to go alone is crazy. It's like, listen to podcasts like mine. Thank you very much. Watch YouTube, all these kind of things. Amazing. But if you've not got some kind of system, support, people to push you, and you're not taking action, it's just, you could watch all the free stuff or listen to the free stuff in the world. It's not going to change your life if you don't act on it and you keep overthinking. So you may not want to hear that, but it's a truth, I believe. You have to set yourself up to win, and that starts with great accountability people such as coaches or community groups. So that's what I got for you today. I really appreciate you for joining me. So just to recap my points on overthinking interaction, recalling all the right decisions you've made because you have made some, so don't worry about making the wrong ones. And I'd also add to that, think about some of the most successful people out there. They often have made bad decisions in their life. That's led them to where they are. So there's always a chance of getting it wrong, so I won't worry about it. Weigh up the pros and cons and risks, of course, but think about the times you've all the right decisions you've made because you have had it and feel it. Second one is mentally rehearsing something in advance. So see yourself doing the thing again and again. It's going to get you more naturally into action because you're telling the subconscious mind you can move through it. Brain doesn't know the difference between fake and reality when you put that much power into your imagination. The 5-second rule was next. So counting down from 5 to 0, not the other way around, and then doing something. Check out Mel Robbins' YouTube or the book, The 5-Second Rule, as well for more on that, although that's pretty straightforward. And then the fourth one is get someone to really kick your ass, or a community, because when we've got like that extra incentive of someone else, we're much more likely to take action. So that's what I got for you today. I appreciate you for being here. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.